There's sort of a clear-cut landmark that you see when traveling near Onaway. It is a giant bust of George Washington.
Well, the owner of Moran Ironworks created that monument, but as you'll see this morning, his company deals with much bigger things on a regular basis. Ben and Corey are live at Moran Ironworks for a live workshop tour this morning. Everybody looks like they're hard at work.
Yeah, good morning, Jody. Good morning, Scott. Just like us, they start early here. The first shift of people was here at 6 a.m. and we're with Tom Moran, the owner of Moran Ironworks here in Onaway. And it's a company Tom started in 1978. And as you can see behind us, you guys, what is your motto?
If it's big or if it's heavy, it's our specialty.
All right. And you guys build a lot of big things. And I just want to talk about your company. Tell people about Moran Ironworks. What do you guys typically build? What is your business?
A lot of our business now is industrial fabrication, or we support a lot of industries and utilities, gas pipeline, electrical utilities, steel mills, that type of thing.
And what is this that they're building right behind us? Briefly.
This is a piece of equipment that will clean the air from a steel mill, from a steel foundry. It's one of 14 industrial air cleaners.
We'll talk more about this later, about how you guys build it, how it works, stuff like that. But a little bit about yourself, Tom. You went to high school here in Onaway. Your dad was a lumberjack, and how'd you get started in this business?
Well, I really got started in Onaway High School. My freshman year, I was just interested in welding, so I drug out some of the welding equipment that was in the shop, and they didn't have machine shop. It was only wood shop. But my shop teacher let me do anything as long as it was constructive. I basically taught myself how to weld and became the school repairman. Did work for repaired desks, did work for the bus garage, that type of thing, teachers, what have you.
And Tom, when you got this place started in 1978, you weren't building big things like this. This started within the last half decade or so. What'd you start out with almost 30 years ago?
It was trailers, farm tractors, lawnmowers, lumbering equipment. It was all the typical things that you would find in a small town.
So you've grown quite a company.
Well, I've grown quite a company, but the truth is it's employees. You know, after just the first year or two, it's people. You know, once I took on one employee, then 2 and 5 and 10, it's the employees that make the company, no doubt about it.
Well, thanks for having us here this morning. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll talk more about this giant thing and some of the other big things they build here, talk to some of the employees. And later on, we'll talk about some of the neat ways they transport all this stuff, because they build it really big and they've got to move it. Scott and Jody, back to you.
A Northern Michigan company is working on one of the biggest projects they've ever had, and they've had some big projects.
Yeah, Moran Ironworks usually build massive structures for various industrial uses, now many of which don't make the most sense to you and me, but seeing the structures is really a sight to behold. Ben and Corey are on a live tour of Moran Ironworks this morning to show us what they do, and it's pretty large.
Hey, good morning, Jody. Good morning, Scott. Tom Moran, the owner, says if it's big and if it's heavy, they'll build it here. And right behind me, they're building one such thing, a gigantic filter bag house, I think it's called, right? And we're with Trevor Most, the project manager of this gigantic project you guys have undertaken. Tell us what a filter bag house is.
Well, it's actually, they put it in line in the exhaust system. It's actually the last step in the filtration process. The dirty air comes in, goes through a bunch of bags that are inside the bag house, and filter it out, take all the particles out, and then it goes out to the exhaust stack and filters out.
So basically like a big vacuum filter type thing.
Exactly.
That's the way I think about it, at least. And there are 14 of these, you're saying, that go line up next to each other to create this filtration system. Where is it being installed?
Severstal North America Incorporated down in Dearborn, Michigan. And
that's the old Ford Rouge plant?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys build a lot of things like this, a lot of massive projects. Eric Stima, you're one of the shift supervisors here. How long does it take to build something like this?
These projects take, we're kicking these out at roughly a little over a week per unit. So they move along pretty rapidly. We build them in large panels. You look over here, and then we just assemble them, and it adds up to be about 90,000 pounds.
Really, 90,000 pounds, and you're saying there isn't much clearance to get it out of this front garage door?
No, it's about 11/16 on each side clearance.
Okay, and I mean, tell me some of the other things these guys are doing. You guys just sealed this unit up earlier this morning, right?
Correct. It has to be airtight, seal welded all the way around.
All right. Well, it's some really neat stuff you guys have going on here. Lots of projects. A little bit later, we're going to show you, they've got one outside that's ready to go. They're going to take it down to Rogers City where they're going to eventually put it on a barge. We'll show you that taking off and how they transport these huge things through Presque County. Scott and Jody, back to you.
There's a clear-cut landmark you'll see when traveling near Onaway, a giant bust of George Washington.
Well, the owner of Moran Ironworks created that monument, but as you'll see this morning, his company deals with much bigger things on a regular basis. Ben and Corey are live at Moran Ironworks for a live tour this morning.
Hey, good morning, Jody. Good morning, Scott. Yep, we're at Moran Ironworks in Onaway, and all morning we've been taking a look at a big project that they're working on, and they're building 14 of these giant, they're called filter baghouse modules for the Severstall steel plant down on River Rouge in downstate Michigan. Cindy Peters, you do the shipping and receiving. How do you guys move this stuff to where it needs to go? You can hardly get it out of your workshop.
Well, it takes some time, lots of time, and lots of practice and a lot of coordination between everybody here.
And that thing is 70 feet long, 28 feet wide. I understand you guys actually had to move power lines.
Yes, we've moved power lines. Actually, we moved them up 27 feet so that we can ship the higher ductwork pieces down to Rogers City.
And it kind of slows down the morning traffic, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Well, Tom Moran, how many years ago did you guys move the power lines, and why was that necessary for your business?
Well, actually, it started about 5 years ago, and it was started as a thought to make components in bigger pieces so they'd be economically more favorable for our customers. And then actually the project itself took about 4 years between the logistics and then the construction. Mm-hmm. So it's been a long, ongoing project.
And so it's been in the last half decade or so that you guys have really taken on these really massive projects. How easy or hard has it been to get those projects, especially with the state's economy the way it is?
Well, with the workforce that I have, it's been actually easier than you would think. The people that I have here are all craftsmen. They're great workers, very productive, so it kind of all fit together with the employee base that I have.
And Tom, you didn't tell me this earlier, but one of your employees did. Something special you guys have actually are some classroom space. You work with Alpena Community College to help train other workforces or train new people who are coming into this field. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that's correct. And that actually serves a lot of different purposes. It's a adult education program, and it also creates a talent base for our own company.
Well, thanks a lot for showing us your operation and giving us a shop tour this morning, Tom. We really appreciate it. Scott and Jody, an Onaway, Northern Michigan success story. Back to you guys.
Absolutely. Might slow traffic for a while, but, you know, good for business up there, so we'll take that.